Hello everyone, I'm CJ9899 and welcome to part 1 of 2 of T-Bar Extravaganza. Okay, so this series is going to focus on the Simplex line of pull stations known as the 4251s from the early 70s to the early 90s, and the Simplex 2099/4099 series from the early 90s up to today. So, a little bit of backstory. The first series of these T-bars, the 4251s, which is the part we're going to be focusing on today, they were originally released in around 1973 to go alongside Simplex's 4050s, 4040s, 4051s, and their panels such as the 4207 and 4208, and they were produced up until around 1991, when they were replaced in favor of the newer style 2099 stations that had just been released. So we are going to be looking at a few different variations of the 4251s throughout the 70s and 80s. So first, let's go back to 1973 with this. This is a Simplex 4251-50, and this is what the original models looked like. They had actually a metal handle, and you can also notice that there is no pull-down arrow, and also the handle is slightly thinner than that of the plastic ones. But nonetheless, it does pull down the same as any other one. And there is like fire alarm, and then it has a big Simplex logo down there. This model is a 4251-50 because it is in fact a two-stage variant. But it's pretty much the same. You got your spring mechanism there, UL sticker. These early models actually used a metal silver button, but they replaced them with the white plastic ones because techs were finding that they would seize up too easily when they were corroded. And here's the two-stage switch, and over here we have an old sticker that says 4251-50, Simplex Time Recorder Company, that sort of thing. So that is around 1973, and these pull stations actually are pretty rare, the metal handle ones, because they didn't make too many of them before they went over to plastic handles. Now, we are going to go up to here with 3 variants of pretty much the same pull station. These are versions from around 1979. These are when they went to the plastic handles. I'm actually going to demonstrate this one because it's the best example. The label on this one actually says 4251-21, which means it has the mag lock buttons, but in fact I actually switched out with a regular button because I like the regular buttons better. Nonetheless, it was still made around the late 70s. It does have a plastic handle, as you can see. Same, and it's got a bit of a different style lock, as you can tell. And but nonetheless, everything is the same still. There's the label on the inside, 4251-21, but it does have the plastic white button. It still has the same lettering, and as you can tell, they added the arrow, and the thing's a little bit wider. This one's the same, except this one is from around 1979. There's a date, 52nd week of 1979. And then the last one we have over here is actually my very first T-bar, which I actually had to get a replacement lock on. I'm not going to pull it because I don't have the key handy. I know where it is, I just don't want to get it. But I also had to modify the back here off of the 80T pull station. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. But yeah, those are the variants from around 1979. Now, we are going to bump up to around 1983 or so with this. This is basically the same version, except this is a Canadian version of this pull station. This is a 4251, but as you can tell, the lock is very interesting. It's still a B-key lock. It's just kind of a design that I've never seen anyone in the States have. I've only ever seen these versions in Canada, but it is still a 4251, and it was made, I presume, in around 1986 or so. But it does have the same type of older logo, 4251-20, and it does have the white plastic button. That's kind of nice. Alright, now we are going to go up to around 1987 or 8 with these variants. This variant right here is another Canadian model 4251, except this one has a more familiar style Canadian lock, which I'm sure anyone in Canada has seen this kind before. They also did use them in the very early modern-looking 2099s too. This one doesn't have any labeling, but it is a 4251. And this one over here is the same, except it has an American style lock, but it still has the solid handle. And that's another thing I should mention. The early T-bars, I think up until around 1986, or I think it was actually when the original 4100 came out in around 1988 that they changed it. So these were just before they made the change over to concave handles, which you will see in a moment. As you can see, this one is a 4251-20 made in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, which is where all the original T-bars, even today, were manufactured in Canada. And finally, we move up to 1990, let's say. I think that's when these ones are around. These are the newest style 4251s, and the main difference here is that the handle is different. It's actually got a bit of a concave handle, which I actually like more than the other ones, but other than that, it is pretty much the same. It does have the, this is the American one that has your yellow label there. Coincidentally, it says CJ right there. I did not write that down, but very shiny back piece. It has a different style of bolts or whatever that hold that on. But other than that, it is the same. This one is a Canadian, or actually no, it is still an American one, but I actually put a Canadian lock on it just because I kind of wanted to have a Canadian looking one that had the concave handle, because I can't find one anywhere that is original. But it does have the same label. So, overall, I think that the 4251 line was actually better than the 2099 line. Mainly because I believe that the 2099s were a little bit more, or no, the 4251s were a little bit more better built, as in they had a better type of plastic that they were built with. They were just a lot more reliable, and they weren't as cheap, I would say. Not trying to bash anything. It's just I feel like they would last a bit longer, and they wouldn't break as easily. That being said, that's been part 1 of T-Bar Extravaganza. Stay tuned for part 2, where we will look at the 2099s and the 4099s. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.